So I'm sitting here with Dr. Navyash Gupta, who is a vascular surgeon at Cedars-Sinai, and we're so excited about a program that he's a part of that we're going to be asking you to help with. So beware, this is an ask video that we're embarking on right now. But it's about this incredible journey that he's done once before. He's going to do it again, but with an organization that's been doing this for how many years?
Over 50 years overall, but the VEIN program's been in place for 20 years.
Excellent. And so you go down to Honduras and you set up these temporary clinics in three different locations, and you service how many people in 1 week's time?
So within a week's period, at our site alone, we took care of over 500 patients. Between all three sites, we take care of over 1,500 patients.
Over 1,500 in all three sites.
Correct.
That's amazing.
And that's within a week's period.
And how many did you take care of?
I personally probably treated about 100 patients.
100 patients in a week.
In a week.
And how many do you usually service in a week here in Beverly Hills?
Usually, when we talk about procedures of that sort, at the most about 6 to 8 in a week.
6 to 8 in a week.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And so we just wanted to bring Navyash, Dr. Gupta, here and to talk a little bit more in more depth about what it is that they're doing and how you can participate in helping them to serve so many people for so little money, right? So tell us a little bit about where in Honduras are you going?
So thank you. First of all, Chuck, I just want to say thank you for doing this. And, I'm a vascular surgeon, so I treat blood vessel disease. And that's generally broken up into two parts, arterial disease and venous disease. And what we're talking about here in Honduras is treating venous patients. So
Okay.
these are patients with venous insufficiency, varicose veins, a lot of them have ulcers. And the organization is
And
called
ulcers on their legs.
ulcers
right?
on their
Yeah.
legs, exactly. And the organization is called Hemwell Hackett Patterson. It's been around for a long time. It was set up by a couple of physicians in the Midwest. And they started going down to Honduras and treating patients. And it has evolved over 50 years to where they treat
That's 50 years. Wow.
exactly. Over 50 years to treating venous disease. They have an ENT program, and they also have an orthopedic program. I'm involved in the venous part because that's vascular, and that's been in place for over 20 years. So last year was the 20th anniversary of the venous part of the program.
And last year was your first year doing
Last
this.
year was my first year going down to Honduras, and it was such a rewarding experience that I'm planning to go back again this year. And I'm planning to take at least a couple of nurses and a couple of vascular techs with me. And that's part of why we're making this ask, is to help support some of the ancillary personnel that we want to take down to help treat these patients, because the physicians are one part of it and we can do so much, but it takes a team to treat the patients. So we have to do ultrasounds on their veins, we have to actually bandage the patients and treat them and take care of them in a complete fashion. And that's where the nursing staff and the vascular technologists come in.
And so last year, he came back and he was so over the moon with what the experience was like. But it was just him from his team that went. And so what really was impactful to me was you saying, I got to go back and I've got to do more. And to do more, I need more help.
Absolutely.
Right? And so how many other people do you want to take with you this year?
So this year, at least 2 of my nurses and 2 vascular technologists have committed to going down to Honduras with me. We may have some helpers as well, and my son, who's in college, may also go on the program because he's interested in helping.
Proud papa, by the way. Super proud papa on that one.
And so, but we had so the program, I'll give you sort of a brief overview of what we do and how it's set up. So we start collecting supplies a year ahead of time. They're stored in warehouses in Wisconsin and California, and then they get shipped to Honduras at the end of the year from Gulfport, Mississippi, directly to Honduras. And most of the people fly into a town called San Pedro Sula, which is the second largest city in Honduras. And from there, we travel to a town called La Ceiba. And we all collect together, we get together in La Ceiba, And in La Ceiba, the supplies that we've collected go to the Red Cross in La Ceiba. And we all collectively go to that Red Cross, and we empty all the supplies. Basically, we form these human chains and empty the supplies out of the containers into 3 buses that are meant for the 3 towns that we set up the program in. And the program set up in La Ceiba, which is the biggest town, Tela, and Olanchito, which is a small rural town, and that's in sort of in the middle of Honduras, and that's where I end up going, or went to last year and plan to go this year.
And
is to
why did you
Olanchito.
choose to go to that town?
I went to that town because it's the most rural of the 3, and the need is the greatest in that town. And we end up probably treating the most number of patients in that particular town,
Right.
because it's very central, and so patients come from everywhere.
That's amazing.
And so, yeah.
And so, how do the patients get to you? Because you're serving all of Honduras, but these are
That's
just
exactly
3 towns within Honduras. How are they getting to you?
So that's a great question. And the first question is, how do they hear about it? Well, the program's been in place for so long, so there's a little bit of word of mouth, but they also advertise on the radio and television. And so the patients are already set way ahead of time. They come in bus loads from different towns. So like the first day that we were there, we had 2 bus loads of patients come from Tegucigalpa, which is a capital city, and there were about over 100 patients. Well, Olanchito is a very small rural town, but then we go to a community center in Olanchito. And this community center is basically a big space that just got air conditioning a couple of years ago. Before that, they didn't have air conditioning in that space. And we set up our tents in that community center. So it's not a hospital. And we take all our supplies with us. Everything we need is brought in. We, including the ultrasounds that we used to do ultrasounds on the patients, but it's a pretty basic setting. So we have to make sure that if the electricity goes out, which it can, we take headlamps with us so that we can continue doing the procedures. And the procedures that we do on the patients are such that they can't be operating procedures that you need to do in an operating room. They have to be done in a more basic setting. And so we've geared this towards being able to take care of these patients that have venous disease, but do it in a setting that is fairly basic and still sanitary and takes care of the problem. They come in these bus loads, they wait there till they get treated. The first patient gets treated and they wait for the last patient to get treated because they all leave together on the same buses. Right. And a lot of them the buses will come and they'll stay overnight. They'll just wait in the buses overnight till the clinic opens. So when the clinic opens and we start taking care of these patients, we essentially take care of all the patients. We don't leave till every patient gets taken care of.
You don't leave until every patient is taken care of. They don't leave.
And part of that is, these patients they're so patient. They've spent a lot of energy and time coming to get treated, and they have such a great need. And so we're not going to leave till every patient gets treated.
Now tell us a little bit about these patients. What is it that you're actually seeing? And speak to me like I'm a 3-year-old about the medical stuff. Yeah,
absolutely. So as you know, Honduras is in Central America. It's one of the poorest countries in Central America. 50% of the people live below the poverty line. There's very poor sanitation. A lot of people survive on $5 a day, basically. And so there's a lot of poor sanitation, poor health care. And so a lot of these patients have venous disease that hasn't been treated in a long time. So some of them have ulcers that are infested with infection. They have non-healing wounds. They have venous insufficiency with varicose veins, and not the type of varicose veins that we typically see in this country where someone has some varicose veins and symptoms. You have to multiply that almost tenfold to see the type of patients that we see. They have very advanced venous disease, and they come from, hours away to get treated. A lot of them are very poor, so they don't have access to healthcare in their own communities. And so when we set up this vein center and they hear about it, word of mouth spreads and they come to get treated. And so it's very rewarding to treat these patients because they have a great need and you're making such a huge impact in such a short time period. And
Now, what if they show up and it's not a vein issue that they have, it's something else?
that's a great question. And there are patients that show up with infested ulcers that are not venous, but because they're coming to see us, we still take care of
You
them.
still treat them?
And so we still treat them. We have wound care kits, we give them wound supplies, clean dressings, saline, and then we have nurses in Honduras that they can follow up with in between till we get back to see them a year later. And it's incredible because a lot of these wounds that have been there for years and years, within 6 months, are almost completely healed.
What was the most impactful thing for you? What stood out for you the most from that experience last year?
I think it was just the gratitude that the patients had for being taken care of. They were just so thankful that we were there to take care of them. And they never complained. They were eternally grateful. And it felt like we were making such a huge impact. So no matter how much we were giving to these patients, it felt that you were getting way more in return from taking care of them.
Right.
So I felt privileged to be able to take care of them.
Right on. What I think is amazing is you support yourself going down there.
Absolutely.
You're donating your time. All these
Right.
doctors,
The
all these
physicians
people
all
are
support
donating their
themselves.
time.
Exactly.
And so what we're doing today is raising the money so that the people that are making much less salary than you are, right, and
Exactly.
and are as gifted financially as you are to do that, to support them, to make sure that you actually have a team of people who are going to go down there with you.
Absolutely.
And so we're trying to raise $12,000
That's right.
for you before March.
Exactly. And the idea is to support the expenses that these ancillary personnel have, the medical personnel like the vascular technologists and nurses, who, as you said, don't make a ton of money, but they want to give their time. They feel like this is a rewarding cause. And so I want to be able to support their expenses on the trip.
Right.
So that they're already donating their time, but I don't want them to have to spend another, X amount of money to support the fees to join the program, as well as the expenses for the hotels and the food.
And so we're asking your help to raise $12,000 to help these people doing this incredible work to do even more, and to do it at a higher level, and to help more people in these really poverty-stricken areas of Honduras. So in addition to the people that you're serving directly in the clinics, there are a couple of other things that you're doing while you're down there.
That's absolutely right. And so, it is
Because
a
that's not
community.
enough. Because that's
Right.
not enough. It's not enough to
Exactly.
serve 1,500
Exactly.
people directly with medical care.
Right.
Right.
Well, because we're taking care of a community. So the community is Olanchito, the city that we go to, and a lot of the people there donate their time. We set up the clinic in a community center. And so we do charge the patients about $8, which is a very nominal fee. And it's voluntary. So not if they can't pay it, we still treat them. But the money that we collect from treating the patients, we donate that to various organizations down there in the local community, including a nursing home where a lot of these older patients get sort of abandoned, and then they get sent to this nursing home, which is very basic. And so we donate money to that nursing home so that they can buy food and supplies for the entire year. And the money that we collect is more than enough to kind of give them enough funds to buy the food that they need and buy the supplies that they need to sustain the people in
for
the
an
nursing
entire
home
year.
for an entire year.
So in addition to serving the 1,500, you're also, from those patients, raising money to support these elderly people in these nursing facilities.
That's right.
Right, for a year.
For a whole
Food.
year. Exactly.
Food for a year.
Yeah, and they rely on that funding, so it's really, worthwhile. We collect the money and we make a trip to the nursing home. We visit the patients there, and then we gave them the money. We also visit what are called halfway homes, where a lot of the poorer families can't take care of their kids, and they'll send them to these halfway homes where they'll get taken care of, they'll get fed, they'll get taught something. They're too young they're not quite school age kids, but some of them can be a little disruptive, and they get taken care of in these halfway homes till the parents can pick them up. And so we go to these halfway homes and we'll take books and supplies, soccer balls and things like that to these halfway homes. And we also go and visit some of the really rural schools in Honduras, in that local community. and do the same thing there.
So, 1,500 clients, feeding a nursing home for a year, and providing needed supplies to these youth halfway homes,
Absolutely.
all in a week's time.
That's right.
We just need $12,000 to make that happen. And that's where you come in to help Nav. I'm going to say us because I want to be a part of this, even tangentially. I want to be a part of
Absolutely.
this, right? To help us to serve an entire community of people.
So I think, I mean, it's just the group of people that go down there. It's an incredible group of people. So there are physicians that donate their time and have been going down there for a number of years. There are also a lot of young teenagers or young adults that are in college that go down and volunteer their time. They're nurses, they're vascular techs. There's a whole group of people, and these people really are dedicated to serving other people. They give of their time. They're selfless, and we form bonds while we're down there with each other, and it's very rewarding to just see that whole community functioning together to serve these patients.
How did it feel when your son told you he wanted to go?
I was obviously very proud, and I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be an incredible experience for him. At that age, it's really a transformative experience. There's nothing quite like it. So the young people that go on these experiences on this type of a mission, they come back changed. They experience something that they will never experience anywhere else. It's so different than anything they'll see in their regular lives. And so it really changes them, and I think it does so for the better.
And so we're trying to raise $12,000 to help Dr. Gupta here and his team to service those 1,500 clients in 3 different cities throughout Honduras. And the way that you can do that, and there'll be a link, so follow the link. It's going to take you to the World Health Access Team.
Correct.
And at that location, which by the way, World Health Access Team is a 501c3 organization. Your contributions are tax deductible, so you can feel great about that as well.
We'll have the link, and we're asking, any amount counts, but the more we raise, the more we can support the people that want to go down as part of this team to help take care of these patients.
If you want to give $6,000, you can do that too. If you want to do the full $12,000, you can do that too. We don't want to limit you. Thank you for your
Amazing.
work. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for being who you are. Thank you for raising an incredible son who wants to be a part of this with you.
It's my pleasure. I thank you for taking the time and discussing this with me and being part of it.
Excellent. And thank you for helping out.
Thank you.